Aparajita Sarangi. She's a Lok Sabha MP of the BJP. Sujata Pandey is a political analyst. Syed Asad Abbas is also a political analyst. And Rashid Kidwai is a senior journalist. Aparajita Sarangi, I want to come to you first because we've just done a back of the envelope calculation. And since the beginning of the budget session of Parliament, of which you are a member, thanks to disruptions that have taken place, my calculation says that 57 crore rupees is the notional loss to the Indian public taxpayer, thanks to no business being transacted in Parliament. How would you respond to that, and who would you blame for this, Aparajita Sarangi?
I cannot agree with you more. Budget session has just begun, and for the past 4 days, we have all been sitting idle in the Lok Sabha. And there have been adjournments, one after the other. So all of us feel unsettled. The unfortunate part is we have not been able to arrive at any kind of solution. Today, Madam Nirmala Sitharaman's general budget had to be discussed. It could not be discussed. We wanted to discuss at 2 p.m. We could not discuss. 5 p.m. we could not discuss. And ultimately, the House was adjourned. I can only say that this is extremely unfortunate. This should not have happened. But we also must remember, I will never agree to the fact that this is just the responsibility of the ruling party to run the Lok Sabha or run the Parliament. I always feel that it's a combined responsibility. Parliamentarians are coming from all over. Parliament is ours and we have to run it together. And as far as the impasse in the Lok Sabha is concerned, all of us are aware of the reason behind it. The other day we waited for 40 full minutes for the LOP to speak on the motion of thanks to the President of the country. But instead of speaking on the motion of thanks, he talked of Indo-China relationship. See, I must say with all conviction at my command that there are certain issues which cannot be discussed in public, on the floor of the House. It cannot be discussed. The matters of internal security, and apart from that, it cannot be read out from something which has been not acknowledged, not published. So this is one part. And number two, we are all guided by the rules of procedure and conduct of business in the Lok Sabha. We may like it, we may not like it, but it is our bounden duty to uphold the dignity and decorum of Parliament. And it is for both the sides. I can never say that it's only for the treasury benches or the opposition benches. It's for all the parliamentarians. We have to behave in a manner which is befitting a parliamentarian. I entirely, fully agree with this. Having said that, let me tell you that the government, rather the chair, whosoever was in the chair, in full gave 40 minutes to the leader of opposition, but he did not. Then we had to talk about two rules, rule number 349 and rule number 353. And I think all of us are aware of the two rules. Rule number 349 of the rules of procedure clearly states that nothing can be read from the newspaper or any other piece of paper if it is the matter so raised is not connected with the business of the House. And the business of the House was motion of thanks on the presidential address. So Indo-China, so to say, matters of internal security not connected with the business of the House, and that is why he was denied the permission by the chair. And then there was a ruling by the Speaker. Under Rule 353, if the Speaker rules, we are bound by that rule.
Yeah.
You know, we are from the treasury benches, but rules are the same for us. You know, when we stand, the Speaker many times, he has admonished us, he has told us to be on the right track. You know, to do or not to do is a question, and we have to abide by the directions of the Speaker. So I think absolute immaturity on part of the entire opposition.
I just want to put out some figures, some more figures, and I'll bring in Rashid on this. Rashid, you know, this is a familiar sight in Parliament because of the complete breakdown in relations between the treasury benches and the opposition. Out of about 35 hours of business in the Lok Sabha, about 25 hours were disrupted. Out of about 35 hours in the Rajya Sabha, about 15 hours were disrupted. We're talking about, somewhere between 55 and 57 crore rupees of a notional loss. Because even with the adjournments, the parliament still has to continue to function in terms of all its administration activity. Who is to blame in this case, Rashid, in your view?
Shiv, first of all, I think it is a bit elitist to do this kind of calculation in a vibrant democracy about, cost and hours. And why do we look at it this term? Why don't we look at, we go back and see what happened between 91 to 96 when PV Narasimha Rao was Prime Minister, when I was there in the Lok Sabha Press Gallery, and I seen days and days, 14 days, 15 days. There were a lot of scandals were there. You may recall JMM, Gold Star scam, fertilizer scam, bank securities scam, and you look at Rajiv Gandhi era, and again Bofors and a lot of things. So hours and man days were lost by the so to say, to if you want to blame the opposition, who will account for that? And if you convert all that money from Nehru's time till the opposition came in power, see, that would run into fantastic figure of 5,000 crore and more. So therefore, as Mr. Arun Jaitley had said, and as Sushma Swaraj had said, that disruption is very much part and parcel of parliamentary democracy. It not only happens in India, it happens in Britain, in US, in France, in all democracies. This disruption is there. Of course, we can question the manner, etc., and all that. To say that the MPs wanted to harm the Prime Minister inside Lok Sabha is actually very serious matter, and this needs to be probed, and people need to be booked. It just cannot be in the realm of allegation. Now, I agree with Aprajita ji that it's the job of the people, it's job of both sides to come together and run the house. And in democracy, they must. But there is so much of distrust that I'm saying. The kind of allegation that's been leveled, the Prime Minister could not come to house because he would have been physically harmed. I mean, I think this is a grave. The security of Prime Minister is a very serious matter. If there is even an iota of truth, all those MPs, whether they are women or something, they must be arrested and tried.
I'm going to come to the allegation of whether the Prime Minister was going to be attacked.
What I'm saying is, this kind of allegations create a lot of distrust.
I take your point. I take your point, Rashid. I'm not even asking a loaded question. When I say who is to blame, I very much believe that both sides should take equal parts in this, because disruptions can't happen only from one side, no matter what anyone says. And by ascribing a figure and blaming everything on the vibrancy of our democracy, when you look at the list of business that remains untransacted at the end of a session, that's when it hits you that these figures actually make sense. But I take your point. I know what you're saying, and I partially agree with you. Sujata, is it as simple as who is to blame for this? Can that question be asked today?
No, Shiv. I think, today we are not looking at the only history. I mean, that's the question, that how long are we going to really debate about the historical figures who are no longer in power, who are gone, and who are probably irrelevant. The entire thing broke out on the General Narvane's book, and the entire discussion was on a war that never happened, Shiv. I mean, the justification from the army chief, the ex-army chief, was all available in the social media from his own account. I don't know what was this entire confrontation about. I think it somewhere boils down to the personal grudge between these two leaders. One Narendra Modi, the PM, and Rahul Gandhi, and somewhere that all the time, whether it's Adani issue, whether it's Pegasus issue, whether it's a Rafale issue, you see the boycotts happening when each side tries to prove who's right and who has a bigger ego. I mean, as a political analyst, this is what I say, that the taxpayers' money is getting wasted. India's youth, India's public is tired of seeing the same repeated narrative, that who had an affair with whom and all that. We are really not interested in all of that. We want to know that this taxpayer money is being spent and how is it being spent. Because, we hear all sorts of things that this is being done, that is being done, but where is the accountability, both from the government side and the opposition? Because it is our money that is funding these MPs to take a private jet to fly into the parliament session and then go back, and then the poor Janta is left with the same question that it was struggling with 10 years ago, that where is my solution?
Let me bring Syed in. Syed, the opposition has made this about badla. You didn't let us speak. Now we will not let you speak. You know, this is a breakdown in relations between the two sides that is resulting in this. Rashid says this is all part of democracy. I partially agree, but I also partially disagree. There is a cost to these bad relations between the two sides. But the opposition is framing this as badla, Syed.
I absolutely do not think so. This is Badla Shiv Saab. As a matter of fact, yes, I do believe with great power there's great responsibility and equal accountability, be it the opposition or the ruling dispensation. But let us understand, how can I forget these beautiful lines, this beautiful share of Manmohan Singh Sahab, Adarnya, former Prime Minister of the nation. He addressed Sushma Swaraj ji in the same temple of democracy. And he said, Mana ke hum tere tarif ke kabil nahi hai hum. माना कि हम तेरे काबिल तारीफ नहीं है हम, लेकिन देख कितना है दम. The fact of the matter, let us understand, opposition is the backbone of democracy and a disruption is the backbone of a temple of democracy. Let us take the statesmen like Arun Jaitley or Sushma Swaraj, even the great Atal Bihari Vajpayee ji, who once said कि मतभेद होना चाहिए, मनभेद नहीं, at the floor of the parliament. Let us understand, the BJP is as much as to blame as the Congress. The NDA is as much as to blame as the UPA. If we write down the number of crores, then I think the BJP owes thousands of crores to Indian taxpayers. Why is it that we only look at the prism when the Congress or the India Alliance does it? The NDA is equally responsible.
No, I think we can all be very clear that, you know, the parliamentary time that Rashid and you are describing of the, you know, more than a decade ago, that is completely gone. You know, I don't think that kind of decorum is ever coming back. That kind of give and take between parliamentarians, that seems like a bygone era.